The nodes of the moon have shifted. This occurred on January 11th or 12th, depending on where you are in the world, and that is for the true node. The mean node shifted at the end of January on the 28th. And today's video, I will be talking about this shift from Aries to Pisces and from Libra into Virgo and what that means for us as the collective and what that means for us as individuals. This is an exciting time to be alive, and I'm so glad that you are here with me on this epic adventure. So stay with me with this video. I will give you a breakdown of what I think will transpire in the year and a half, because the nodes stay in one sign for approximately a year and a half. And in that year and a half, a lot can change and a lot will shift. And I will be in this video, I will be breaking it down for you, the shift. This is Vivía at your Soul's Well. Thanks for being here with me. Now, before I start into the video, I want to make sure to remind you that if you like my content and you want to help me, you can just do it so easily just by subscribing to my channel, liking my content, sharing it out if you feel that there's somebody you could share it with, and obviously always comment below if you have a question or if you have any comments. That is great. Thank you so much. Now, on to the nodal shift. Here we have a chart. Now, if you've watched my last video, and I certainly hope that you have, the first video in this series explained to you what the nodes in the moon are and where they are. You can see right here, there's one node right here. I will even, as I'm circling it here, this is the north node of the moon, and this is the south node of the moon. Now, previously, the south node was here in Libra, and the north node was here in Aries. And so the nodes move backwards through the chart, right? So they've moved from Aries, and now they'll be into Pisces. And then on July 27th, 26th of 2026, they'll move into Aquarius, and from Virgo here into Leo. But for right now, the nodes have shifted into Pisces and into Virgo. So if we break this down in archetypal energy and what these signs represent, I mean, it's been so hard for me to put this video together, because it's been this process of really trying to processing all this incoming energy and the things that we are feeling and the things that I have been feeling and experiencing and going through. And what we are in this time period of such profound and fundamental change. And I have referred to that in many of my videos past. The videos where I spoke to the changing times, the videos where the one video, the card one where I did the pick card, that one, I was so overwhelmed by information of how drastically and how dramatically and how profoundly our lives would shift, and that we would not know our lives looking back. We would look back on our lives. I remember that. I remember that imagery coming through and the information coming through over and over again. And every time I look at these charts, I'm again reminded of all of this information that's coming in and helping shift us, helping shift our DNA, helping shift our thought processes, like our cellular stuff, and helping cleanse us, helping just move us through and move us forward. So if I just break this down astrologically, because obviously that's all my intuitive stuff. I don't think I said that right, but you know what I mean. And it's all my psychic stuff that's coming in. It's all that information that I get on the regular all of the time. But if we break this down, let's break this down into the energies and the archetypes and the significances and the meanings of their astrological imprints. We're here into Pisces, and Pisces has a lot to do with going within, meditation, contemplation. It's a sign of spirituality, of mysticism, of things that are ethereal, the divine, of touching the cosmos, of being in the cosmos, surfing the cosmic wave, being there, like present in it, and like in that ethereal ness of consciousness. Pisces, being a water sign, is very sensitive. And in fact, it is probably the most sensitive out of all of the signs, out of all of the water signs. It's fluid, it's receptive because it's feminine in its nature. All of the signs have polarity to them, whether they're masculine or feminine. And this is not male or female, and this has nothing to do with your gender, actually. It is an archetype of femininity. There's a difference between feminine and a female, and there's a difference between masculine and a male, and that is a conversation for another time. But Pisces is the feminine, receptive water sign that is fluid and dynamic. It is creative and lush with ideas, and it wants us to imagine a new reality. It wants us to be adaptable and changeable. It also is the sign of deep compassion and complete understanding and forgiveness. It's a self-sacrificing archetype, and in this, a person with a lot of Pisces placement can become a martyr because they believe, or they think, or they're conditioned to believe that they need to give themselves to the greater life. And that is maybe the perhaps shadow side, if you will, of Pisces, is giving too much of the self to the whole and becoming ungrounded through it. Ungroundedness is very much a part of Pisces. So with the North Node moving into Pisces, we consider these things. I know there's so many keywords and there's so many descriptions for Pisces, and I don't know if because I'm trying to keep all these videos. I'm doing a series of videos. I'm trying to keep them all to about 20 minutes. And I don't know if in about 20 or even 30 minutes, I can possibly go cover all of everything there is to the sign of Pisces. I cannot, especially since I want to cover some of the transits that are occurring when we are having these during this nodal shift. This nodal shift that will last a year and a half in our lives will be profound. It will shape us and it will help us. It will move the collective forward. It's moving us forward, actually, in our psychic development and our spiritual and our psychic development, because that is Pisces. That is the sign of Pisces where the North Node is. And the North Node is the point that we follow for our soul's evolution and our soul's growth, where we want to focus our energy, focus our time, our attention, our emotions, all of that. That's where we want to focus it. Now, with this, I see a lot of really great things happening for humanity because it's such a potent time in so many ways. There are so many things happening, and I hope to get into some of this in this video. But now I want to move on to the South Node. Now, the South Node is here. It's placed in Virgo. Now, keep in mind that this is the date for when the nodes moved, 11th or 12th, depending again where you are in the world. And now that I'm filming this and recording this, because it took me a long time to put this together and I'm slow to catch up, but eventually I will catch up. So these have moved slightly, but I'm just giving you, I want to look at the initial ingress chart of the nodes for the nodal shift. Look at it actually as an energetic stamp of when the nodes shifted into the signs. They moved again from Aries into Pisces, from Libra into Virgo. If we look here at Virgo, where the South Node is, and if you recall from my last video, and you can go back and you can watch my last video so to get a better understanding of what the nodes mean and what the South Node means and what the North Nodes mean. The South Node is about the past, our past experiences, our karmic collective evolutionary point, where we've come from as the collective. Like this is a collective reading that I'm reading, so I'm reading this as a collective point. In your individual chart, this will be a karmic point, a past point for you in your own life. All right. And again, just listen to that video because I can't cover that again here. I need to cover this. Virgo also is a receptive and feminine sign. And so the feminine means to receive, right? That's why it's receptive. It takes in, and where the masculine gives and this feminine takes. Virgo is a sign of industrious work and self-improvement and criticalness for the purpose of improvement. Some of the qualities of Virgo is that it's skillful, it is productive, efficient, precise, effective, detailed orientated, it is analytical, it is methodical, it is modest, focused and service orientated. Now, these are the different qualities of each of the signs. And also I need to point out again that this axis between this north node and this south node is an exact opposite, an opposition. And these nodes travel together, so you cannot unbind them. They are fused together. Where one goes, does the other, but in opposite directions, in that polarity. They diametrically opposed polarity. Now, the thing that binds them is that they both actually are concerned with healing. Healing, yeah. Both Pisces and Virgo are focused on healing. Virgo does it in a very precise, analytical, detail-oriented way, and Pisces does it in this all expansive, all maybe sometimes consuming and boundaryless way. But both of them deal with that. They deal with toxicity, they deal with poisoning, and they deal with cleansing, and they deal with healing. So now with the nodes shifting into the signs for the next year and a half till the end of July 2026, until the end of July 2026, as I have just said, it will be this time period, I think, where we're going to have a lot of healing come on the earth. Like just so many healing modalities and so many energy modalities, right? Because there's other things happening in the chart too, and I can't get to all of it in depth, but Uranus here, this Uranus right here in Taurus will be moving into Gemini, and when that happens, we're going to see an influx, an infusion, an explosion of innovation and technology, and that is happening simultaneously as the nodes are in the very axis of health and healing. And that is really something to be very conscious of, and these are the general trends that we will see play out over the next year and a half. Now, there's going to be a lot of transits to these nodes, particularly the north node is going to be very activated. And in this video, I want to just briefly touch on some of them, but what I will be doing is I'm doing a breakdown, sign by sign breakdown, where I plan to go into more of these on a more detailed way to show you what I see happening for all of us. Now, in this video, I can only, again, touch briefly, but I want to show you just a few things that I see happening and the overarching themes that I see. So what are the overall themes that I see? I see massive spiritual development. Massive spiritual development for the collective, for all of us individually and for the collective as a whole, and dissolving of the ego. So remember, the Pisces is this ethereal sign that's connected to mysticism and the whole cosmos and the divine. And I see that our spiritual evolution will come out of this. It will just be because the nodes are there. The north node is in Pisces, so it's bringing energy here. It's infusing this area of our chart and just depositing all this energy and bringing all this energy to this area of our chart for us to awaken, more awakening. I see more awakening. So I see the spiritual evolution and also the dissolving of the ego, right? And the ego is very much attached to our, conscious mind, and it's connected to linear time and all of the workings of the 3D reality. And as the ego is dissolving, we're growing more into our spiritual being, more into the beings that we really are, encompassing and embodying more of our soul. So that's what I see happening here with the south node in Virgo. So remember that the south node is the point of loss, where there's weakness, where there's energy being drained, where we don't want to focus the energy on that. It's the point where we want to surrender and release to. It is about releasing control and releasing the need to be perfect. Going with the flow is going to be ever more important. It's going to be ever more important to stay kind of in that flow state. That's going to be what really is going to be beneficial to us. So I've already touched upon this a bit, but there's going to be lots of opportunity for compassion and healing, like energetic healing. Now, I see a lot of things happening that might not be considered good. They might be more on the harsher parts of reality. But remember that all of those things bring us to our point of compassion, open us up and help us just relate more to one another. And that's what I see happening with the North Node in Pisces. I think that we should prepare ourselves for really like fast moving change for a number of reasons. If you've watched my last video, I spoke about when the nodal axis shifts, it doesn't just shift the sign that it's in from Aries to Pisces, from Libra to Virgo. It shifts its modality. So it has gone from cardinal, the sign of Aries and Libra that likes to that are masculine and active and likes to initiate, to the signs of Pisces and Virgo, which are mutable. And mutable is very changeable. It just changes. It's meant to change. It's in between the two signs of cardinal and fixed, and it needs to change from one to the other. So it has to be very adaptable. It has to be very flexible. And that is what this energy for the next year and a half is asking us to do as well. To be changeable, to flow, to go with the flow, to be very flowy, to allow what is to be and just to be in it and not try to fight it and not try to resist it. Resistance will, I think, for a lot of people, will lead to illness and will stagnation and possibly illness. So that's something to really be aware of. Just whatever is, and to go with it. Go with that flow. We're moving from Aries into Pisces. So Aries, the pioneer, the initiator, the warrior, ruled by the mythological god Mars of war, into Pisces. This energy of inspiration and mysticism and fantasy, and to be able to create whatever we want because the divine is right here with us, and us remembering that and tapping into that. So we're moving from that to there, and then on the other end of the spectrum, we're moving from Libra, which is all about harmony and getting along. But remember that that was that is where the south node was placed, so the energy was depleted there. The depletion of energy there, if you looked around the world, it was difficult to achieve harmony and peace. There were no peace talks. There was a lot of war. War did rear its ugly head, and we saw the destruction of the war on Earth. And so now that node, the south node, is moving into Virgo. The weaker point is in health and discrimination. So we might have issues with our health, and we need to pay attention to our health. It needs to be a high priority to us in this time period. And since that this is the point of weakness, I do want to mention that Virgo in medical astrology rules over the nervous system and the intestines. So it's really important right now to really take care of our health and to pay attention to our health. Now is not the time to be ignoring our health and signs. Make sure to stay up on your health regimes, whatever they are. And this axis between Pisces, the water sign, and Virgo, the earth sign, is a really great access for things like cleansing and detoxes of all sorts, whether they're bodily, physically, obviously, and spiritually as well. Be careful what you are ingesting and pay attention to what you are ingesting. One of the most auspicious things I think about this transit, and remember, a transit just means movement, the movement of the planets, the nodes throughout the zodiac, and then it translates into how it influences us here on Earth. But one of the most auspicious things I think is that Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and it will be, so first, the modern ruler of Pisces is Neptune, and Neptune is already placed in Pisces with the north node there. As soon as the north node entered Pisces, it was coming into a conjunction. It had already applied to a conjunction with Neptune. It's conjoining it. It's coming in closer and closer until it's in the same place in the sky. They're together. And we're talking about the tropical zodiac as well, right? The tropical western zodiac. I'm not talking sidereal here. Now, so one of the most very important things is that Neptune is the modern day ruler of Pisces. So Neptune is there in Pisces, ruling over Pisces, and its ancient ruler, Jupiter. This is so fantastic. Jupiter will be moving into Cancer at the beginning of July, end of June of this year. I think it's like actually like June 30th, July 1st. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And what that means is that Jupiter can really, really work to its highest potential. And because it's the energy that is ruling, or it's the dispositor of the energy of this Piscean section of the chart with the where the North Node lies, it's just bringing this wonderful, just brilliant, expansive, benevolent energy to this part of the chart, of the sky, and of our lives. That bodes incredibly well for all of us. For all of us. This is so significant. I cannot even tell you how significant this is. This is going to be such an amazing period for us. So watch from about the beginning of July until next year when Jupiter moves out. And I think that is also July of next year. Let me just look. That will be roughly around June 10th, 2025. Jupiter moves into Cancer. Its position, its placement of exaltation, which means that Jupiter is at its peak performance, able to work its magic of expansion and benevolence and good tidings and goodwill for all. And Jupiter stays in this position for just roughly over a year. Around July 1st of 2026, Jupiter moves out of Cancer and into Leo. So for this whole time period, just over a year, we have this section of our charts, of our lives, of the world collective being influenced by this magnificent, beautiful Jupiter that's bringing so much goodwill and so much abundance and gifts and opportunities for us. That is another thing about this that is just so amazing, that both of the rulers of Pisces are either in Pisces for the beginning, at least for the ingress of the chart, which sets kind of the energy of the whole thing into motion. And then later on, its Pisces ancient ruler being in its exalted sign of Cancer is such a wonderful omen for us all. The thing to watch with this, though, is that both Jupiter and the North Node amplify, they expand, and they exaggerate. So we can see an exaggeration of all the themes and an amplification of all of the things Piscean related, which is our dreams. So pay attention to your dreams. Mysticism and spirituality, like I've already covered, and that is the reason why I said the things that I said, is that this huge influx, a new energy being born on earth of a new spirituality coming online, a new human, a new spiritual upgrade for us. But the thing that we need to watch for with this is ungroundedness and unpracticality, like not being practical, because the opposite end, Virgo, is very practical, pragmatic, and methodical, and wants the embodiment. So remember, if you watched my previous video on the nodes, you don't want to separate the nodes. You want to use them together with one another, because you can't separate them. And when you use them together, you understand that, they can't be separated, and they need each other. Like they almost feed off of each other, right? What one lacks, the other has. And with Virgo, Virgo is all about being embodied, and being embodied means being grounded. So the thing about Pisces is that it can get very, very ungrounded, and what I've referred to is the very airy-fairiness. Now, there's nothing wrong with dreaming, and there's nothing wrong inherently with any of the signs. They all have their lesser basal qualities and their higher qualities. And us as humans, we have actually all of them within us, regardless of what sign you're born into. It doesn't even matter if your houses are empty, so to speak. We have all of the cosmos in us. We are made of the same energy and the same material as the cosmos, and we have all of the archetypes. So this is not to bash any one sign or to downplay any one sign. The part of Pisces that is perhaps not the most favorable is that it can get very ungrounded. It can get too much in the ethers. You can get too much into the dream, but there has to be practicality to the dream. There has to be steps that action it and actualize it and bring it into manifestation, because we are still physical and we are still human. Do I believe that we are on the ascension path to less embodiment and more etherealism? Absolutely. I believe that. I don't even just believe that, I know that. But we still have to take care of our bodies and pay attention to our bodies. We cannot just disregard our bodies, just like we just cannot disregard the ego and all the elements and aspects that come with that. We must pay attention to these things and be conscious to them. But if we can really embody this and really stay grounded, then we can really actually start to manifest a different reality for ourselves that is more ethereal and more mystical and more aligned with our vision for ourselves. And I think that that is perhaps one of the most ultimate goals, is to combine the two, right? Combine the spirituality and the etheric mysticism and realms with the practical embodiment of reality that we live on a day-to-day basis. So just remember that we're moving from the individual ego self to the higher self and the higher cosmos as us as one collective. And that doesn't mean that we lose our individual personalities or states or our individualism, because this is just one aspect of the chart, right? Remember that Pluto, do you see this Pluto here? Pluto is still here in Aquarius. And Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for a whole 20 years, right? For 20 years, Pluto is here. So Pluto will have a greater impact. But the nodes going in here is going to flavor this for the next year and a half, and actually for 18 and a half years, because their influence and what they start will cycle through until the next time, until the nodes come back to this point in Pisces. And then we can look back, we can look at all the trends, we can look at the influences, we can look at what has changed, and hopefully learn from it, and hopefully grow, and hopefully evolve. In the time period that the nodes are in Pisces and Virgo, we're going to have a lot of conjunctions. The moon's going to go through and conjunct once every month. The sun goes through once every year. Venus, Mercury, and Mars conjunct often, like Venus, Venus, I figured this out. Venus conjuncts the North Node 4 times. 4 times she conjuncts. First is February 1st. This is Venus's first conjunction with the North Node, which happened on February 1st, 2025, at 28 degrees and 9 seconds here of Pisces. You can see that the moon and Neptune were co-present. And this is the first conjunction as well of the moon. And this is I feel so auspicious it bodes so well for the whole period of time that it's just such a beautiful energy for this first conjunction here. It's magical and it's whimsical and it's like fairy dust, and maybe that's woo and like out in La La Land, but the energy that it brings to this is like of miracles and fantasies coming true and dreams becoming realized. That's what I see here. All right. That's the very first one. I'm going to show you all of the conjunctions and I will break more of this down for you in your personal individual charts. So I hope that you watch those. But I want to now show you the next Venus conjunction. The second time that Venus conjuncts the North Node is going to be on April 1st, 2025, because Venus is going retrograde. So what she's doing here, see, she's in retrograde motion, and the previous chart she was in direct motion. So she conjuncted and then moved forward into Aries and then moved back. And so now she's conjuncting again. All right. So this is the second time here on April 1st. Then I will show you the next one. So this is the third time that Venus conjuncts here. It's on April 23rd, 2025, because once she moves direct, she's going to conjunct once again the node. All right. So that's the third time. And then this is the third time, is April 23rd. Did I say that already? Now, because she moves direct at this point. This is the fourth time here on February 17th, 2026. Venus will conjunct again. You can see them right here. So we're going to have 4 opportunities of Venus conjuncting the North Node. So Venus is the qualities of love. It has these Venusian feminine qualities of love and affection. It's about our relationships. It's about our value system. It rules over certain parts of our finances, definitely the physical aspects of it. Again, what we value in maybe currency, things like gold and metals and actual physical possessions, and anything that we place value on. And Venus is known as the lesser benefic, so Jupiter being the greater benefic. So this is, again, I just see this as such amazing opportunities for us and amazing times for us just to bring the best forward in this Piscean area of our life, in the spiritual development that we are embracing. So this too, Venus here, because by this point she's moved all the way around the chart and come back, right? And all the other ones planets will too, like Mercury will, the Sun will, and Mars will. So those, Mercury, the Sun, and Mars will make 2 conjunctions. Mercury might make a few more because of its retrogression, but Venus makes 4. So lots of opportunity there for us because both of those signs, Pisces is the sign of the soulmate and Venus is a sign of love. So those 2 coming together, Venus coming together with the North Node, the point in the chart where we have to follow this destiny point, and with it coming together 4 times in Pisces over this period is just set. It just bodes well for so many great new openings and rediscovering love and exploring relationship and exploring wealth and exploring what all of that means for all of us. Now, there are a lot of different aspects that I'd like to share with you, like Jupiter also is going to trine, Venus is going to trine as well. There's so many things, but I can't do all of it in this one video, but just know that this is such an incredible time for all of us, and just to be aware to use this energy to your best ability to bring forth the things that you want. Like if you are desiring more creativity or more spirituality or more mysticism or healing or relationship or wealth in your life or opportunity, this is the time to capitalize on that and do the things that you can to move that forward. There's just so much here that can be, that so much potential here to be tapped into, and I want you to be aware of that because it's such an exciting time for all of us. I want to make sure to read to you from the Chandra symbols by Elias Lonsdale. 29 degrees, we round up to the next degree, so it's actually 30 degrees, and I'm just going to read to you directly from the book for both Virgo and then Pisces. So Virgo at 30 degrees, super sensible beings manifesting through geometric forms. Sacred geometry inscribes the pattern of the world going through its great shifts, its quantum leaps. If you learn to stand back and be within the greater archetypal motions, you find yourself being placed in perfect strategic positions, in exquisitely rightful initiations and assignments. The transparency of things is superlative to behold. You are called to serve the highest, to respect and honor all manifestations, to be there for everybody. Interior steadfastness and implacability, knowing the law, the code, the way. Magnificent in applying vaster awareness to life's particular detailed variations on the theme of how everything fits together perfectly and is woven by design. The fine-tuned sensibility of the master craftsman, particularly adept in staying modest, unadorned, and straight on. It is the exemplar of the way it is done when you know who you are and how things are around here. And when you see it coming through in every jewel detail with little lost in the translation. Isn't that beautiful? Especially since there's so much talk about quantum leaps, and I've certainly talked to this. I've spoken to this in other of my astrology videos, just the quantum shift, and this is what this energy holds for us, these quantum leaps and these potentials. And that's what this degree, this last degree here, or first, that the nodes move into, of Virgo, represents this massive quantum shift in consciousness, in our spirituality, and in our evolution. That is exciting. Now to 30 degrees of Pisces. A large halo and ring formation around the moon. The earth is pregnant with alternate futures. Oh my gosh. Each of her progeny, each possible future could become the chosen one, or rather the one chosen. The criteria centered around whichever future stream is most genuinely surrendered to the highest will. It is the same microcosmically as macrocosmically. Many souls are pregnant with alternate futures. The one that prevails will likely be the one most surrendered to the absolute, the most rightful. You feel burstingly full of visions, possibilities, worlds, and streams, and you know that so much shall pass away, but what is essential will keep on coming. It is very hard to tell who is who and what is what, which way to lean or how to conceive the way it shall go, but if you stay rooted in your inward awareness and enduring core sensibility, you will be tapped as a vessel for what is to be and all you need to know. That is just so majestic. Seriously mystical. Like the thinking of just the world being just the earth being impregnated with all these possibilities, and that each one of them can manifest, really speaks to the power of our potential potential, and how what we give focus to will come alive, and just to be very conscious of what we're giving to focus to, especially in this Piscean energy, as they speak here to this, like things that are passing away. So much is going to be passing away from our reality, from this world, and newness is really being born. So it's really important to focus again, just to drive in on what it is that you want in your life and what it is that you want to bring forward through you into your life, because we are these alternate futures exist within us. The potentiality is within us, and we are the ones that have to develop that and bring that forward. And that's what this energy is. And that's just wonderful. Like just such beautiful imagery, and the vision of possibility in the future is just wonderful. So that's the Chandra symbols. Thank you everybody for being here with me for this video. Just make sure you stay tuned and watched for your rising moon or sun sign. They will be following. Thank you. Stay blessed, beloved souls.